So, welcome everybody. This is our Dance Journeys podcast. It's already episode 16. And my name is Pirita, and we have amazing, lovely dance lover who I call them Maria from Finland. And like I've been saying before, these podcast episodes are all about talking about dancing and talking about the journey we all have taken in our dance. What we learned, what have been the things that have been challenging, what has been, what's been there kind of sometimes perhaps even stopping us in through the journey. But this is an open conversation, which means this is live. And if there's anybody who's listening it as well now, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. That's why sometimes you might see that my head goes down. I'm looking if there's any comments on the chat. So feel free to ask any questions or leave any thoughts. Doesn't have to be always question. It can be just thought. If something that what Maria is saying there resonates you, would be lovely to hear. But that's a little bit about the podcast and what we have for today. But now I'm going to just let Maria a little bit tell about herself, where you're from, what do you do otherwise, just tiny bit that we, or who is listening, get a little sense like what you are outside from dancing.
Well, thank you, Pirita. I'm a teacher living in southwestern Finland, and I have a small family, child who's 5, and then my husband, and we are living in a rental home at the moment. And I've been dancing with you, Pirita, for the last 2 or so years.
Yeah. So, because this whole podcast kind of started during or after a pandemic, however we think about it, and we've been talking about how dancing has also changed before pandemic, of thinking now after pandemic or during pandemic. If you think a little bit before, what kind of things you've done? What's your kind of dance history? What did you do before?
Well, I have sort of an on-off relationship with dancing, but I've always loved it. I started already at the age of 5, if I remember correctly, with ballroom dancing. I've done jazz dancing when I was in my teens. I've tried several types of dancing, like Nia. I can't remember what it stands for, something like neuro something. And samba, jalabina, belly dancing, not officially. Pole dancing I've tried. So I've tried all sorts. But sort of like jazz or contemporary dancing have been my sort of a thing, or like a longest time love for me.
And how would you kind of describe how it has been changing now, if during you kind of join on the program, but how would you kind of say it, a few words, how it is changing?
Yeah, well, at least I really needed some fun in my life during the pandemic, especially. And I noticed that dancing gives me a boost, like a nice emotional boost when I want to cheer up. So that's why maybe I started looking for something like having to do with dancing on Instagram, etc. And then your course sort of popped up in my feed. And then now during the course of the program, I've learned that it's a really convenient way for me to break down my talking head syndrome a little bit, because, well, especially when we were all online only, then I was literally a talking head and I did nothing else. And then I needed to like reconnect with my body. I just have fun. because it energizes, even though it does also make you feel sweaty and potentially really tired afterwards, but it does give me some sort of an energy boost as well.
Yeah. And you said you have tried lots of different styles there before pandemic. If you think about your kind of dance history of everything that has happened with you in your life, of how dance been kind of there, you've been trying things, what kind of things have been stopping that, or has it always been consistent?
Well, I think I'm well, not just a bit, but I'm a perfectionist, and I did proceed in my dancing in my teenage years quite a bit, and then I sort of expected myself to be at the same level, even though there might have been some years passing in between, and then always when I started a different genre of dancing, then maybe I either I didn't really find the suitable level for me, really. So it was either sort of too low, too simple, not rhythmic enough, or the music didn't really capture my attention and just like take me with it, or then it was much too high. So it's like either or. So the balance of trying to find the suitable level for me was kind of challenging in my adult years, let's say.
Okay. And what do you think, what kind of things are now that you find challenging?
Well, just simply, I think I complain about this all the time to you, Pirita, but just simply giving myself permission to take some time off from my sort of regular life and going into my dance bubble. So just giving myself the permission to do so, it has been challenging. But what has really inspired me in your program is that it develops pedagogically really in a logical manner, and then also you giving me feedback and us watching the videos together with the group, getting some feedback from them, so peer feedback, and you giving some pointers on which things to really focus on the next round, and so on. That really makes it easy and convenient to like getting to see the results and seeing the progress. I'm not really sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, like you said,
carried
I
away.
think it was. Yeah, it's good. It's really lovely to hear it, and I think what kind of stayed with me is of hearing it first, that before kind of life before pandemic and kind of that dancing life before that, the challenge has been more or less that finding the right level class or right level that you can keep on doing it. And now it's more about the reminding yourself that, yeah, I'm allowed to take this time for myself. And I think that's what is so much of the adulthood or that journey of when you would have more time is that kind of struggle or challenge of finding the right things to do. And then when you have families, you have different responsibilities, then it's the one that I keep on seeing so much with everybody who is like, who I talk about the program or who I meet, is about like how much we can give the time for the own things. Because especially, I think this is, like I said on these episodes, like I believe so much, like especially with women, we so often put the first time to everybody else. And you're the last one who gets what's left.
Exactly. And even though, well, I see this on my social media feed all the time, that we should like us women, we should take time for ourselves, because you can't drive a car if there is no petrol. So you need to fill yourself up also with the type of energy that you need. And if dancing is what boosts you up, then why not do it? Because it's only beneficial for everyone surrounding you, like good for the environment. Your immediate surroundings.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, dancing is good for environment. Yes, definitely. But and I think it's that challenge that if you haven't found the right level or the right things from dancing before, and when the life changes, there's more responsibilities, it's even harder to get into that journey of how can I do this? Because even that pandemic was a big boost for all the whole dance industry, in a way of that there's now a lot of new ways that you can keep on dancing. But I think in so much in our heads, there's still this old-fashioned way of thinking that dance happens in that specific time, in that specific studio, and this specific order of doing things. That doesn't work for everyone. So it just needs that time and support of finding what works for you. So now that you've been discovering that journey, what do you think? What kind of elements? You were a little bit opening those already, that finding maybe from the program you got the kind of sense of the structure, how I built on things have supported you. But is there something else that has been kind of helping you?
Well, it has been sort of revolutionary to realize that you can actually chop things down. So if we have a dance lesson, we can actually chop it down, and I can use it to help me sort of navigating through my home office days. So I can put an alarm set up for like 30 minutes or 45, something less than an hour, and then I can take a short break, like 5 to 10 minutes. I pick something on the app, and then I dance, and it immediately boosts my creativity, or at least that's how I feel like. And then you don't get too caught up in your own head, because at least I think that when I just stare at the computer screen, it doesn't really boost the energy level in the brain either. So just taking a break from it all, and then using, physical movement, especially to the type of music that you like, and you just enjoy it, then it does, I think, enhance the productivity as well. So that's been a huge thing. I mean, just as I said, revolutionary. It's changed my life.
Wow, that's amazing.
Of course, I could do it more regularly, but just the realization that, oh, this is allowed, and the teacher Pirita told me that I can do this. I'm allowed to.
Yeah, but it's like we've been saying on the group chats, like so often in our coaching stuff, like the 1% is more than 0%.
Exactly. And those small steps, they amount to great change in the end.
Yeah. So, but finding those little steps to move on, doing it shorter times.
Yeah.
Well, now that it's amazing to hear that you also notice, because of course, if you don't notice the positive impact, it's also the part of why should we continue it either. So
exactly.
Do you think what has kind of helped you to also kind of reflect or notice this positive impacts? Have you kind of reflect, or is it just something that you feel like you just needed to keep on doing, that you notice the impact? Or how would you kind of describe that journey for yourself?
Well, I would say that maybe the first step at least has been in the group chats, when I've noticed that also other people are struggling with the same types of issues, and then you giving us some reflection questions or some interesting metaphors to think about, then that has helped in really structuring like my own scheme of how it should work, how it's worked before. Maybe it doesn't work now in my current life situation. So how can I just make it work in my everyday life? So definitely it has taken a lot of time to think and reflect. But I don't think that I would have been able to do that on my own. So I've needed the group and your support as a teacher, I would say. Even though I've read countless self-help books about everything, but especially recently, by the way, on the benefits of exercising and how to recharge after stressful situations or such.
Yeah,
so it's not just what you do with your body, you also have to reflect on it, I would say.
Yeah, it's they're all connected. We need to give them both that time, as much as we would give that time for the movement, just moving, but we need to give that time for reflection, and then they can more and more support each other. But I think it's so much people are trying to do it alone, and I think that's the beauty of dance. It's a social aspect. It's a social dance. Whatever we do with dancing it's a social thing. So how is that support coming? It's everybody. I'm always hoping that everybody would find that support for themselves.
Yeah,
we can't find those things alone.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that you would that easily, at least you wouldn't maybe notice those small differences that happens in the body or in the movement, and like spotting how you progress would be a lot more difficult, at least by yourself only. You do need an outside perspective.
Yeah, to say it. Well, how did you feel on the moment, of course, thinking, because you also one of these people that I've never met before. And I started to realize we haven't also met in person yet either.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
So there is quite a few of you guys that I haven't still had a chance to meet in person either. But I think in this world that things are happening online, and I understand that is sometimes of the scary thing of jumping, and especially at first it's a scary thing to ask help if you haven't learned to do that before, and it's not something that comes easily. But then also of being in that place of asking help from almost a stranger who is there through the laptop trying to smile, but it still is a stranger.
Yeah.
What kind of feelings you went through when you were kind of starting with me, but also of that, it was something new for you to start with your own exercising, and but then also starting in this way online with a stranger.
Yeah, well, I remember when the advert on Instagram said that just the consultation is free, and okay, well, if it doesn't cost anything, maybe I can do it, and if it's a hoax, because that was also a possibility, if it's a hoax, then at least I haven't put my credit card information anywhere. But it was scary a little bit, this is a teacher, and actually meeting, and especially on this environment, maybe it would have been easier if we sort of met in person at first. But instantly, I would say at the first time when we met online, then I just got the feeling from you that, okay, you definitely want my best, that you want to help. So I don't know, and you're very approachable also. So you weren't as scary as I thought at first.
Yeah. And how do you feel now of being into this online world? Because it was something that you were trying something before. It's not absolutely a strange world in a way for you, and you use this tool in your work as well, of course, during the pandemic even more. But how do you feel of also now doing that online aspect on your own dance training and exercising mostly?
Well, it works when the technology works. So when electronics and the internet connections and so on work, it's fine. But it does sometimes feel a little bit lonely as I do it, because it seems like, now I don't have a mirror or something, and it feels really hard. But when you just say it out loud and tell it to you or tell it in the group, then there's always like some sort of a solution to that. So again, not just thinking about it on your own, but you do have to like communicate it forward in order to just get to that next step. Yeah. But it was hard at first, I would say.
Yeah. And that's what I've been loving of these podcasts, of episodes, of talking with you all, of having these conversations, to hopefully the others who are listening today, that it's not easy. And no one is never saying it is easy, but the solution, like, will if it's now hard and we find the solution, how much more rewarding is that feeling after that? Then that we realize it's hard and we just leave it. I don't like a word of let of like, okay, let's just let go, I don't do it. I think there's always of just that it kind of goes slowly away if we don't give that attention. But then it's a moment of we can't learn anything new either. So, but yeah, I really love that you said it, that you need to say it aloud. Share it.
Because otherwise you just keep playing the same tune to yourself, and then it becomes a bigger and bigger issue.
And it sometimes it is hard to find the solution on your own. So it's when you're saying it aloud, somebody else might help you to find that solution. What we try to do there with the program a lot with you guys, finding those options. Because I don't believe that we all can do everything what we want. We just need to find the way, how it works best. And finding those plan A, plan B, plan Z, because we need those options, not just either or, but there are those different options, and finding them. And
absolutely.
I think of so much of now learning about you more and seeing your dance journey. It has been of so much of, like you said, that you've been trying so different things, but not maybe found the thing what worked for you. And now it felt like now maybe from dancing you have started to really find the things that work for you. So now it's more of how those and the dancing can now support the different stages or different parts of the life, that the rhythm of life through like now the journey of finding how can you keep on doing it.
Exactly.
Amazing. Well, how do you think of now that you've gone through this journey, what you already a little bit described those best things that you found from dancing, but is there something else that you never even thought that dance would give this for you? Or or is there something you learn or something in your life that you notice the difference or the
Well,
effect?
somehow now the first thing that comes to mind is this improvisation that has been very hard for me. I mean, I do improvise in my work because it comes naturally, and you can't always prepare for everything. But in dancing, that's been sort of my least favorite thing to do, because I don't know how to improvise, even though that's the exact thing that you don't have to know how to do it. But now I've actually started to enjoy it since, well, for example, in this at this stage that I'm in, one of the warm-ups is basically based on improvisation. And it's been interesting and really eye-opening again. Like, okay, so I don't have to know exactly the way where I'm supposed to be going, or exactly the way that I'm going to do this, but I can just listen to my own body, what it really needs. And that's also something that I think I had lost for a long time. The connection, excuse me, the connection like between my brain and the body. I couldn't really hear what it needed as well as I do now. And I would say that one part of it is this improvisation, definitely.
Oh, that's really lovely to hear. And yeah, on that the level that you are now in, yeah, we have added the improvisation there. So sometimes it's scary because it's a moment where we need to be listening, to get something honestly out of it, but finding that freedom in the end, hopefully, yeah. Well, before we have last questions, I'm going to let you to ask a question from me. Is there anything? I know I've been asking so many questions from you, and I keep speed. We also now added this more in our meetings and our coachings of asking questions from each other. But now you can ask. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, actually, I've never asked you this. When the pandemic hit, that basically when you really started the program, but I have an inkling that you sort of had these plans beforehand. Is that true? And or how did you like come up with this idea that you would have a website and an app and then these group sessions?
Good question. Yeah, I don't think we have discussed this. I don't think no one has really asked. Maybe long back. It's been now a couple of years that we've been doing these podcasts. But yeah, so I've been teaching quite a long time, and especially I've been teaching from the start of my career a lot of different age, but especially I always had a passion of teaching adults. As much as kids, it's lovely to see how everybody's growing with dance, but especially adults, of giving that something else from dance in their daily life next to their work. It was always really rewarding to see. As I had my own dance school in Oulu. I built this kind of model or structure, what we were following in my school, and it was mostly also really based on thinking about the adult education and the structure. And we were already having with my performance groups this kind of sessions that I gave a lot of feedback, or even our contemporary dance classes, we filmed our exercises and then we looked them on the end of the term and I gave feedback. And I really enjoyed that part because I mostly started to realize long time ago that I enjoy more this one-to-one help that I could give. Not just that I go a big class and there's 40 people and I don't even know half of their names. I can't really help them. So I enjoyed that part a lot. And since I moved to Scotland, it was always kind of stayed in my mind of how could I do this also without not be just connected with one city or one country.
Right.
And in a way of how we could resolve this main problem I feel we adults have, is not enough time. And because we don't have enough time, we don't have enough time to go some classes all the time. And because of course I'm really used to train at home. It's like, as we rarely had a chance to have our own studios. Of course, when I had my own studios, it was different, but you are learned as a dancer to train a lot at home. And you choreograph at home as well, most of your classes. So for training at home was never a problem for me. But then I realized like it's not something like normally people who just enjoy dancing as part of their hobby, they're not used to doing it at home. And I was like, well, there could be a way to do this. And this was already starting before pandemic in my mind of how we could resolve this thing. Also, I haven't been a big fan of being online. And especially of this way of that there's not that communication, like having just somebody talking there and then like they don't even care, are you there or not? Like you don't know who is paying attention, what's happening. So I was not a fan of that either. But when pandemic started, and it kind of forced me to look it in a different way. And I think it's also not just forcing, but it gave me a new tools that I didn't know before. Like example of this more online live version of it. So I think that was something bigger that kind of clicked for me. Like, well, yeah, it can happen in your home. It can happen on your own time, which I think is going to be super helpful for people who don't have enough time to do everything. But then having that social aspect differently. So our meetings and talks. So there it kind of lines up. So it's something being brewing long time in my mind, but I think pandemic time gave me that solution of like, oh yeah, this is the way should be perhaps going, and we'll see where it will go.
Well, I think it's a winner formula. So really I think it incorporates all the aspects, because you do give a lot of guidance and very concrete bits of advice there when you teach a certain movement, for example. And then when you dance, and then you have to film it, and then you show it, you share it, and after that you get the teacher's feedback and the group's feedback, and they might have realized or noticed something else. Then that's a full package. And then you have to think about it yourself as well.
Yeah, and I always hope I think my dream has been so long time to build something, one that if I see somebody in the class that I can see that they're struggling with this thing, I can instantly say that, okay, I have this thing of like, just go and do this, even in your own time, or that there's some place that I can instantly kind of show them like, okay, just click on this app and do that class, and it will open the thing that you're maybe now a little bit more struggling. And that's some of the tool, but also we are moving this profession, we're doing this with our bodies. And when I got Crohn's, it also started for me to think about how can I sustain my practice, and how can I keep on helping you to guys keep on going, but helping me also to keep on going. And so having some base somewhere saved is a huge thing of like, I can, even now, example, if I would have a bad days, I can instantly help people to go and they can do it their own time. It doesn't for me to be there physically all the time doing it with my body. So it's from my professional aspect, something I always kind of dreamed of having, but also for the dancers aspect of having a place that would help them ease up. But what's going to happen next? Thank you.
Sounds
We'll
like you have something planned.
I always plan. I keep on saying that we'll take 1 year at a time. Now it's been 3 years. So who would have known that we've been this far? And it's been lovely to see everybody's in their own journeys. And I think, like I said, it's like been lovely to see your journey of where it has been starting off not really finding the right things from the dance, and then finding the right things, but now make it more work in life, how it keeps changing, because that's what it is. Life is never the same.
Exactly. It took me years to understand that, but now you've helped me with that as well.
I'm really happy to hear that. Well, maybe the last question for me, what kind of advices you would say to anyone there who is listening, who might be anything that you have said today has resonated with them, of struggling, of perhaps sometimes putting you and your time there first, or before that finding hard to find the right levels, and being a mom.
Well, I would say that definitely it pays off investing in doing something fun for yourself, even if your loved ones, of course, they are your priority, but you also have to take care of yourself. And if dance is something that you enjoy, and if this sort of a program would tickle you a little bit even, then just jump right in because it's worth it. I enjoy these little adventures every now and then, and I would say that this is an adventure that I will never regret. As you say, Pirita, no regrets as a granny.
Yes, that's why I keep on reminding them all.
Yeah. Your future self will thank you if you just start. Even if sometimes it feels like, taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or even 2 steps back, but still, just persist, keep on doing it.
Yeah. And like you said, even if it felt first scary, so even if anyone is there listening, of whatever might feel now scary might be the thing that it's going to be the one that, looking back next year, it's just the thing that helps you to move forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
So go for it. We
we
have now Maria there to prove, living proof that it's worthwhile. If you get scared, it's worthwhile to jump.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's always the good things that are a bit scary, aren't they? So
yeah. I that's what I kept saying with the online world of and pandemic time now. This is really scary, everything that's happening, but we'll just need to now jump even harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Something good will happen.
Yeah.
Ending our chat on just how, in few lines or few words, you would describe what you hope that even in few years back we would have these conversations, and we will. I think we will keep on having this conversation, and I keep on asking these questions a lot. But what do you think now that everybody who's there is also listening, to give a little sense of where do you hope you and your dancing and your training is in a couple of years from now on?
Well, I would hope and believe that then I also have time for maybe more time at one stage, like not just short dance breaks every now and then, but also like maybe sort of a regime of on Tuesday evenings or Wednesday mornings I do half of this and so on. But the most important is that you feel like dance is there for you, and you're not there alone, because dancing is there, and your dancing community is there. They are all rooting for you, you know. So maybe it's again about giving yourself a permission to, you know, jam every now and then, have a little dance when cooking, and also keeping it sort of structured in the app and so on. So sort of a combination of, I don't know, like omnipresent dancing, you know, in your backbone.
Amazing. Fantastic. Oh, that sounds good. Good goal to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you so much, Maria, for coming in and sharing your journey and sharing your experiences. And
Thank you, Pirita.
And I hope that whoever is there listening live now or later on will get something from this conversation that will inspire them in further on as well. And we got little guests there as well. But
yeah, he came to say hi.
He came to say hi. Yeah, he was hearing my voice, and he's like, "Oh, this lady is here back again." But we're gonna say now thank you for our listeners as well. So we'll hopefully we have a few more episodes coming on. So keep your eyes open, ears open, and we're wishing everybody an amazing day. And reach out, keep on dancing. That's what we want to say.
Exactly. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.